Hi guys, Ariel over here at Nyth, and today what I am doing is a little more work on a project that I've been working on. I worked on this a bunch last night, and I am adding fresh wood chips to my garden paths. You've probably seen a couple of my garden videos. You know, I use these wood chips in there to keep the weeds down, keep everything nice and clean and all that, but it's been I think 2 years since I last put chips down, and they do break down over time, of course, and so I am putting new ones down. Now these are from whole trees. Neighborhood, a little ways down the road a couple years ago was doing some wildfire mitigation stuff, so they had to get any of the trees, close to the buildings away, so they had a service to do this. So it came up and it ran, whole trees through their shredder, and then they needed somewhere to dump them. And so the property that I live on said they would take a bunch, and it worked out great for everyone because the tree guys had a place to dump their truckloads, and everyone here had wood chips to use for things. So these have already been sitting here breaking down a little bit for almost 2 years, but they would need a little while longer, especially being in a big stack of all chips, to break down into good dirt. So at the moment they make very good mulch. And head over here to the garden and show you what I'm doing. So you guys can probably see here the kind of faded old ones that have been here for a couple of years and how bright the new chips look. And I am just filling these paths all in. Got kind of a ditch along here that's where I, scraped up my extra dirt last fall to make my bed a little taller and hopefully a little deeper without so many rocks in it, as I discussed in the last video. So I'm just filling this in. This is a little drier right there because that's where I quit last night, so it had time to dry out by then. And just kind of smoothing this all out. As I said, of course, weeds would come through this eventually, especially if you didn't keep adding chips to it. It's actually exactly how a Back to Eden garden works. But in the meantime, when the wood's first breaking down, it kind of sucks all the nitrogen out of the soil, among other things. Plus, it's thick enough it's simply burying seeds and so on, so they're not getting light to get started growing for the most part. But sucking all that nitrogen out of the dirt kind of prevents things from growing. And then as wood breaks down even more, it adds lots of nitrogen back in, but initially it takes it out. So I'm just running wheelbarrows back and forth here. I've got, this will be my fourth aisleway between my beds that is done, and I got a whole bunch more to go. And then my garden will look all very neat and fresh and pretty again. And hopefully, as much as I love to garden, hopefully require, a lot less weeding. I haven't really had to weed my paths in quite a few years, and I just want to keep it that way because I want my garden time to do other things. It's been a gorgeous day. 1 minute the sun comes over and it gets very nice, and then the sun comes back out and it gets really very hot for here, which is not that hot for most of you guys. Anyway, that's my project, what I'm going to be working on for the next little bit. Like I said, I've got access to lots of free wood chips, and that's what I use for this. People use various kinds of mulch, both in their gardens and for pathways. If you live in some area with less trees and more people who want the chips. I know that often they're not available for free, though they might still be pretty inexpensive for a lot of folks. But here, where there's not that many people, and in this single project that these chips came from, I think I got like 17 big truckloads with something like 20 whole trees, you know, trunks, limbs, branches, everything in each load. So lots and lots of wood chips here. But other things I know people have used are hay, straw, various kinds of gravel or rock, cardboard, old carpeting, newspaper, just lots of things. I like these because, again, their biggest pro for me is that I have access to lots of them and they're inexpensive, meaning free. And, you know, over time they will keep breaking down and making the dirt even richer. So whenever I do eventually roll my tiny house out of here, the brush and whatever all was here before me will just come back through, and in a year you won't even know anybody ever lived here after all the work I've put into the garden. But the dirt will be good and the plants growing in it should be healthy. So this is what I'm doing for now. And it really does come out really nice, especially when you want to work in the garden when it has just been pouring rain or something, because the chips keep everywhere. You want to walk nice and clean and dry. Well, not necessarily dry, but not muddy when you want to walk on. Here you guys can see a little bit more of a close-up of what the garden beds look like with the new wood chips in between. As you look across there, you can see the line that was dry last night, fresh wet ones I just did, and then the older ones which look more gray than brown. But here you can see it looking all nice and tidy. I was just going to show you what the main purpose of this is, because these haven't, you know, these are the older ones, because they haven't been redone for a couple years. I now have some little weeds, even though they're not hard to pull, that are coming up between them. And out here on the edges, you know, the grass starts to encroach in. Plus I've got, like I said, kind of that hole where I scraped all my loose dirt as much as possible up into the bed last fall. And again, on this edge, you can see the grass encroaching in and so on. So I'm just re-burying all those things with lots of chips. And though it takes some work to put them down, it'll probably be another 2 years before I really have to worry about any kind of weeds in my pathways again. So that's a fairly big deal. Definitely worth the effort. Hey folks, thanks for sticking around to the end. Just one quick note here that's not on my normal topic. If you want to hang out in person, there is a Homesteading Life conference coming up this summer. And I am going to be one of the presenters there. I'll be speaking both days. It is August 12th and 13th in Hannibal, Missouri. I'll get
give you guys a link right down below, but I will be there all day both days, and lots of other cool people will be as well. So come check it out if you're anywhere close to Hannibal, Missouri. I'd love to meet some of you folks in person.
Thanks for watching, folks. If you're interested in more info on my off-grid tiny house life, check out some of my other videos here. And if you like what you're seeing, click the little picture of my house to subscribe and then hit the little bell so YouTube actually notifies you every time there's a new video available. See y'all next time.